Hey, good morning, everybody. So I'm going to show you how to do the Essentials project where you're essentially looking at the room design, kind of like we did in Minecraft, but this one is going to be using prefabs in Unity. So the first step that you're going to be in is that's going to be in this Essentials project. So if you go into the Unity Hub when it looks like this. And again, if you haven't set up this project, when you go here, you go to projects, you should see one or have one that's essentials. It's the one that we've been working on, which is kind of nice. However, if you don't have it set up, if you go to new project, you can see here that under learning, you're going to see it say essentials pathway. However, once you've downloaded it, it'll open up and it'll have all of the scenes that we need. But in our case, again, this is one that we've been working on. So most of the things that we're doing, to start out at least, are going to have these essentials right here. So the scene that you're working on for this project is under this folder here. So we had been in this playground. Again, if I go to scenes, you'll see the playground right here. So this is the one that we did last week. And you can see like I have all of this, all of the terrain isn't something that we've been working on, but we did the mural, we did the fly through. And just again, a quick review, if you're trying to move around a scene, if you hold the right mouse button and then hit AWSD, you can use it just like if you're walking in an FPS game or Minecraft. Now, the scene that we're going to be in, and one thing I want you to notice is that we have this element right here, which is called the breadcrumbs. So the folder we need to be in is under Unity Essentials. And then I have this scene right here. So I'm going to my scenes folder. And then the one that I'm going to be working in for the next few days is going to be under what's called the kids' bedroom. Okay. And it's going to be a blank environment, kind of like this. So I'm going to just show you this is what it looks like. There's not going to be anything in the scene, but something to practice is that you will want this to have, like, you're going to want to move between these folders. So again, these are called breadcrumbs. They're called breadcrumbs because, like in Hansel and Gretel, you're kind of finding your way back to the root folder, which is this folder. So once I have my scene, again, it'll look like this. I'm going to go into my prefabs folder, and that's where I'm going to spend a little bit of time for this assignment. When you go into this folder, you're going to see one that's called rooms. And then the one that we want to use for this particular assignment is the one that's called the bedroom. So it's going to look kind of like this. And I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it a little bit easier. And it's going to have a door, some windows, a floor, and everything else. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to be adding a some furniture to this room. So for the final part of the assignment, and I'm going to go into this folder here called bedroom, and I'm going to add just some basic furniture. So I'm going to add a bed. I might rotate it just so it's a little bit easier for me to see. So I can do like this. I'm going to add a dresser. Again, same type of thing. And I'm going to move this around to make it a little bit easier to see. Again, you can doesn't have to be perfect for this one, but we'll just try to make it as good as we can. And then I'm going to rotate this one as well. And then I'm going to do a demonstration. So once you've added the furniture, and I'm going to ask for the final project to have at least 10 pieces of furniture somewhere around there. You can see it also, there's like a rug that I can add. It looks like this. Um, and I'm also going to add, we'll just do, and I know this doesn't look great for this section, but I'm just going to add this vanity right here. Okay. And after I've added this to the room, again, you would take a screen recording of you flying around the room. So you can either double click like this and go to each section, and you can just record that. But the last part of this assignment is to add materials. So to find materials, you can do one of two things. You can right click in your folder and you can see this option that says create, and then you'll see this option here that makes a material. And it's pretty basic. Like once you've made this material, I can click this color wheel, and let's say that I wanted to change the color of the wall. and then I can just drag it onto a shape. And then that's how you change the color and the look of something in a scene. So it looks like this, and you can make it look however you want. However, you'll also notice in this folder that you have a folder called materials. So if you double click here, again, using the breadcrumbs, you can see that there's an interior one, there's an outdoor, there's even a skybox. So if I go in here and let's say I wanted to add some clouds like this, I can. So that's what it looks like. But I also have these interior materials, and I'm just going to go with objects. And you can see again, there's certain materials that you can pick. So I can look here, there's also environment, and I can add like grass right here. And I can also add like different patterns. So maybe on this shape, I want to add like this to the bed or something like that. And then maybe here, I want to change the pattern of the floor to be something like that. So similar to what you did in Minecraft, you're adding these prefabs into your scene and then you're building your scene from that. So for the assignment, again, you're adding this room and then the next part of it, once you've added the furniture and kind of done a tour of your room, the next section that you're going to do is you're adding the materials and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do a tour of the room once you have added all of the materials like this. So for instance, like right here, this is a vanity, but this is probably going to be like a mirror. So I can take this glass material and I can add it like that. Okay, so to give it kind of that finished look. Okay, so that is this assignment. Again, this is very similar to what you would do in Minecraft. It's just adding prefabs. But there's a lot of cool things that you can make with just these materials that Unity gives you. So I think that this is like a cool design project.